Hi guys, yes, man, welcome back. Yes, welcome back to where we gonna get your group home business started, and we gonna get it started right here. Yes. Hi guys, yes, so welcome back, as I'm so excited to see you all back. In this video, I just wanted to switch it up a little bit. I'll be having a chit chat with Keona. She is one of our mentees here in the Michigan area, one of the top ones, and I took her story because it was very unique. She started the coaching program in December of 2023, and she's at her fifth property. So I'm so excited for you guys to hear her story. So stay tuned, stay put, don't go nowhere. Yes. And as you are going to just be hearing a lot of terrific things, even about the coaching program, okay? So 1 second. Bye-bye. So everyone, I am changing the setting of the videos. Well, I'm still going to continue to do the same video settings, but I want you guys to get to know the mentees as well. Well, Keona's not a mentee anymore, but I do want to introduce
opportunity.
Yes, she is, man. So let's talk, Keona. Tell us, let's talk to the people. Tell them a little bit about your experience prior to even getting into the group home business. What is it that you were kind of doing, working into it, and what kind of made you want to gravitate into this field?
So 20 years of my life, or 20 plus years of my life, my background has pretty much been government contracts. Again, it has taken care of me pretty well, but I've always had the desire, I guess, because I was blessed to have both sets of my great grandparents and my grandparents in my life. So being one of the older grandchildren, I got to be around elderly a lot. So during my years of experience in careers, I decided that I would go work at a nursing home in accounts receivable. Well, one of those jobs, during that job, during that time, I working in accounts receivable. Part of my job was evicting people who had not paid their room and board for being in the nursing home.
Wow,
and that really bothered me because a lot of them were not even in their right minds to even know they were getting evicted.
Wow.
But a lot of times it was because people had abused their POA or, even children, even family members had taken advantage of having access to their family members' money. So a lot of times that's what it was about. So I vowed then, I'm like, someday, I'm going to figure out how to protect these people because, again, being around elderly people, they need all the protection they can get.
Yes.
So coming along and not knowing, yet quite what my passion was, and COVID allowed me to start thinking about that a lot because when you're locked in, you start thinking, oh, God, all of this is happening around me.
Yes.
What is my true purpose on this earth? And so, again, starting to search that out and thinking, I've always had a soft spot for the elderly. So much so people people still call me an old soul. But when I was a little bitty kid, they always called me an old soul. I'd been here before my time. So with that, I started looking at there's got to be a way for me to get back into that.
Yes.
So again, YouTube University is what got me to this point. I found you on my, I call it YouTube University.
Period.
And
yes,
you do. So I got out there, I started searching, and I watched you for a while. And the thing that I guess really pulled me into, reaching out to you is I'm like, okay, she's local. And who better to do it with than someone local? Because, again, you see people are advertising what they do everywhere, all over YouTube.
Yes.
But I would prefer to do something because I'm old school, and I prefer the one-on-one, and I prefer the being able to touch, feel, a situation. So that's what started me down the journey, and here I am.
I love it. Man, so that's great, guys. And you know what, Keona? I didn't even know that about you, that you were in accounts and responsible for. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
that's crazy. That's crazy, man. So, well, I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but let's tell the people a little bit more about what type of housing that you jumped into when you first started. What was it that you clamped on to? I know you spoke about the seniors, but what specific services? And I know a lot of these answers, we didn't wrap you together, but I want them to kind of hear you exactly what services you are starting to offer with someone with not as much experience. And then you kind of jumped into the business. So where did you start at?
Well, where I started at, there's those ones that can walk and talk and, just what the word says. They can pretty much take care of themselves. They just need shelter, or they just want to stay independent of their family members. So I kind of went out there on a limb and decided I found 2 homes that sat right next door to each other, which was very odd.
Yes.
So I decided that I would make one of the homes a women's home and the other one a men's home. So I found that dealing with independent seniors, as much as you would like to think they're independent, they become very independent because, again, you get all flavors, size, situations, and just giving you examples, some people come to you with nothing. They literally come to you with the clothes on their back. I even got into a situation where a guy came to me. We literally went and picked him up from one of the local rehab skilled nursing facility. He literally walked out of his room with no shoes on his feet.
Yes.
So you get to you get really consumed with their life and their lifestyle, because a lot of them don't have family, or it's the situation where family is distant, whatever the case may be. So I started down that road. It keeps, like I say, it keeps you really busy. You instantly turn into a social worker, a caseworker. You turn into a cook. You turn into everything that, like I say, that it's really how do you want to say it? You really learn a lot on the job. You don't.
Yes.
A lot of times you don't have time to go and find somebody. You gotta Google, and you gotta call mentors or call whoever's gonna help you stay on track to help these people. So I started out independent, and I think if I had to say so, that is the best way. Now my role was seniors, so let me say that. But I think it was the best thing for me because, again, it got my feet wet.
Yes.
It allowed me to see what would be my responsibility, but yet I didn't have to be with these people 24 hours.
Yes.
I didn't have to be, I didn't have to be at their every beck and call. So it allowed me to get to know them more because they're able to communicate with you. They're able to let you know their background, which is a lot, and even in some cases, as you get to digging into their background, you find out, oh, this guy was a veteran. They don't even tell you.
Or what about that lawyer guy?
Yeah, yes. I didn't even know I had a lawyer in my house, but he was literally a lawyer, and I'm looking at him, and after dealing with him, he even gave me some legal advice along the way. So and wrote a couple of things up for me. So that's the reason I say, I mean, you have everything from a cook to a lawyer to speech therapist. You just have such a flavor of people that you just look at and you think, I have a lawyer in my home at this age, that doesn't have anywhere to go, but you don't know maybe what road they had to travel to even get to where they are. So you can't just sit there and judge, and that's another big thing. You can't judge them and just assume they made a wrong turn. Life happens.
Yes.
Life happens, and when that happens, you just have to roll with the punches. And again, when you don't have a lot of family support, you end up just kind of blowing in the wind, literally, because one of my guys, he literally found it very comfortable to live behind a garbage can. He was okay with that. And you got to also kind of get down into their mindset to say, okay.
Yes, you got to treat mental illness.
Yeah,
yes,
you got
absolutely.
you literally have to realize that some people are comfortable exactly where they are. And you think everybody wants to be in a bed. That's not true.
It's crazy because, I'll see it all the time too. It's one of the same guys. I see him walking up and down, around the area I live at with nowhere I'm thinking to go. And every time we offer housing to him, he say he's okay. Mm-hmm. So, yes. Now, let me ask you that. With that being said, do you think or have you came across any tasks that you feel like it was so much for you to bear that you was just ready to give it all away because this was extreme. So has it been any extreme things that has happened that you was like, oh my God, Jasmine, somebody, please help me and pull me and guide me, right?
Well, I did have an experience.
Right?
Well, I did have an experience, and just so all you guys know, I'm a little country girl from Mississippi. So,
Okay.
I wasn't raised calling the 911. I'm just being honest. No, nobody called a lot of 911. So I had a
Yes.
gentleman in my home where he literally was just acting out. He was acting out, and I'm like, okay, we can't have this. And you warn them, and you warn them, and then you got this little 5 foot, female dealing with this 6 feet type guy. And so, like I say, it gets a little intimidating sometimes. But again, I had to stand my ground. So, again, when I started to see that he was acting out, I was like, Jasmine, I got a problem over here because I'm not used to that.
Yes.
And even then, you have to be careful how you handle them because, again, you don't want to get into any abusive type, allegations and situations.
Oh, yes.
So you have to know how to maneuver around these people because, again, they know the system. If you don't, they do. They
Yes.
know exactly what to do to get to what they want to get to. So you have to really be a couple of steps ahead of them. So
All the time.
again, I had to get on the phone and say, how do I get this guy out of my house,
Yes. Yes.
And again, we did what we had to do. Now again, when he got through with it, he blew it up to be way more than what it needed to be.
Is we talking about Victor?
Yeah, we talking about Victor.
Man.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Victor called, just to give you something to laugh about, Victor called the police on me, and well, he was on the phone with the 911 saying, "Oh, she's beating me, she's hitting me. Oh my." And anyway, make a
Oh
long
my
story
God.
short, as soon as the police drove up, he's like, "You want me to believe this little bitty woman
That is hilarious.
hit you?"
Yes.
So again, and again, it was because he knew the system, or he felt he knew the system,
Yes.
and he thought that would allow him to get his way. But again, as soon as the police got there, they realized they had an issue, so they were able to escort him off the grounds, and I took him his things, and I wished him well.
Period. Yes.
Yeah.
Man, I kind of miss him a little bit.
A little
He
bit.
was a little spicy at the house.
A little bit. He reach out to me every once in a while on Facebook.
Oh, no.
But he's doing well.
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about the revenue a little bit. Okay. Starting out, is it what you expected and what is and where are you at today as far as the shift even within the properties, because you have shifted them from independent and now you are going to more so 24-hour care and some of the different ones. So a lot of the people, when they are starting out, they want to know, how much am I going to make? How quick is it going to come for me? And everybody is different. I know financially when you are starting out, it's a little bit different. But for you, how long did it take before you started to see a revenue? And then also, where is your revenue at? Let's speak about that a little bit.
So with the independent house, one thing for sure, you don't have as much overhead because, again, as I said, you don't have to be with them 24/7. But yet you do have to start to become familiar with the different programs that they may be eligible for, the
Yes.
services. And you really had to work with me on that because, again, when you don't come from a world of needing those type of services, it's like, where do I even start?
Yes.
This is my first time even filling out a food stamp application for
Man.
somebody, and they looking at me like, you can do this online, right? But
You
again,
still went up to the building.
yeah, I did. I still went up to the building and got the application, but you really have to utilize all the services, and just one of those services, just to throw it out there, is the chore provider. I thought, okay, I still need somebody to cook, clean for these people. Some of them were on walkers. Some of them could not get up and down stairs, so on and so forth. And some of them are not even able to stand to cook. So again, when my revenue first started out, I was like, I don't know if I did the right thing or not, because you think you got to hire all these people to do this work. But I can say, as I went along, I learned about the chore provider. I'm utilizing that in my home now. So in those independent homes, I can say when I first started out, my probably my revenue was more around $6,000 around that time. Today, I'm more up around about 11, about 11. But again, that's going by the number of beds that's in your home. I don't overcrowd. I usually stay to the 2 people per room usually. And again, as my business grew and my name got out there, the business name got out there, the type of care I was providing, again, where you may have started out at $800 a bed, I'm now up to around $1,200, $1,300 a bed. So that's a big jump.
Yeah, it is.
I utilize the food stamps that come into the house, which helps again to cut down on your out-of-pocket expenses. Again, using the chore provider, I don't have to pay for someone to come in and help them out of my pocket. That is something that is a benefit of theirs through Medicaid.
Absolutely.
So again, when you begin to know all of the things available to you, it helps you to increase your profits, if I have to say.
Absolutely.
Profits, if I have to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just want to piggyback on that real quick, guys. I always say you want to locate a program. And with that being said, there's so many federal programs, state programs, so many ones you could opt into just to make additional income. You know, in this business, you're going to be operating multiple business. I always say we got our housing business and then we are rendering services as well. So you always want to just consider that, because as Keona did as well, the more you help, the more you will make. But then you also just want to be realistic about that revenue and that property. How much is you going to pay somebody? And actually that opens up the next question. When you first started out, how much time did you think you were going to be spending in your home, to as far as the times that you are? So they can kind of expect to say, if I'm starting with independent housing, how much time should we think to, operate that particular property?
So starting out, I'm going to be very transparent.
Operate that particular property.
So starting out, I'm going to be very transparent. Starting out, you're going to probably spend more time there than you would like to. Out of 7 days, you're going to probably, at least being very realistic, you're going to be there at least 5 to 6. And that's just because you're going to have to help them locate the nearest Social Security office. You're going to have to get them clothes. You're going to have to go and get them shoes. So you are very much involved in the beginning.
Yes.
And again, as time went along, today, I go over to the homes maybe twice a week, 3 times a week.
Cut back. Wow.
I've cut back a lot because, again, once you kind of get them settled and they know they can trust you, and they know that they're getting the right care. But now, again, some of them you have to whip them into shape because, again, they're used to living a certain way. So you have to be in those homes saying, look, this is not a nasty home. This is not an unkept home. You will keep it clean. That's the least you can do for me if I'm offering you a roof over your head.
Absolutely.
So now, like I said, I may go into the homes 2 to 3 times a week. And again, I have hired what I call house mothers and house father, and they kind of help keep things under control for me. Like I said, where I used to maybe get 5 calls a month, I may get now 1 or 2.
I love it.
And usually those are just because, hey, somebody went to the hospital. I just want you to know, Keona.
Yes.
Or, hey, Keona, we need, like with the weather, hey, Keona, the lights have went out, whatever the case may be. But other than that, now I don't, like I say, I still go into the home to make sure they have what they're needing. But I do utilize, like I say, my house father and my house mother to help keep things under control. So I have cut back a lot. But they all have my number. They all have access to me. They can call me whenever. My number is posted all around the house. So there's never a time that they can't call me. But I will say I like it when I go into the...
They miss you.
Yeah.
Because I know, funny story, guys, when Keona first started, she was at the house like almost every day. And I'm like, oh, my God, Keona, you better not let them people wear you down. So it can, you just want to be realistic about that time. Yes. So that's awesome. So what are you planning to do with your next property that you do open up?
So the next property I'm targeting...
That you do open up.
So the next property I'm targeting is veterans. I am targeting doing a veterans home. Again, treading over into a different territory. But again, working in this business, I didn't even realize I had two veterans already in my home. I had no idea.
Yes.
But just to get a feel of, who's coming into my home if I decide to, allow them to be there.
So, what do you feel about, or how do you feel about people who only offer just shared housing? Is that something that you think you may do? Just shared
I
housing?
do. I do. Because there is such a need. And again, through you exposing me to it, again, it was the first time I've ever been into a shelter.
Yes.
It is a needed. I mean, homes are needed everywhere, and I don't. And this is the thing about it. No matter how many homes you have, it's not enough.
Yes.
It's not enough because again, a lot of people, as you mentioned before, are out on the streets just because of mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Let alone anything else that may be going on with, but just the mental illness, they're on the streets. And so, like I say, no matter how much at least I feel this way, no matter how many homes you offer up and how many warm beds you give them, you're still going through life and you're seeing that there's somebody out there on the streets that's like, you just want to pick them up and say,
Yes.
I got a bed for you. You can't just do that, but that's how you feel.
Yes.
So the need is great. It's huge. It's getting even more because, again, with the inflation being as high as it is, working individuals are losing their homes as well. It doesn't
Absolutely.
even have to be somebody that's homeless that don't have a job or may have mental illness. It just may be because of their lifestyle or however you want to package it.
Absolutely.
People need housing, so just offering shared housing with no service is still a good benefit.
Yes. I know for me, and I asked that question because for me, when I first started out, before I went crazy talking about offering programs, shared housing is where I noticed you need to offer that program, because for me, it left me, if I'm just going to lead the house and just offer the housing to the people, although we spoke about mental health, you're thinking about leaving a lot of mental ill individuals in your home. And if it's unattended, then you may have damages that occur. It's just going to be, some issues. So I love to just feed the need. I love to know everyone that's inside of the homes.
I do too.
That way you're able to see what other services you can be able to provide to them.
Correct.
So it's a little bit more security. So one of the better questions, Miss Keona, what was your experience just with working with Jasmine as being a mentor with you? Was it things you expected? Did you get all of the things that you were expecting to get over the 6 months of time? Tell me a little bit about that.
So again, I being fully transparent. Again, we had our Zooms. Being fully transparent. Again, we had our Zoom sessions. You walked me through. You gave me all of my backup documentation that I may have needed. But I will say for me, and I can only speak for me, I think I mentioned this in the beginning. I'm a hands-on, need to see you, need to feel you type person. Because again, I need to be able to, and again, you were open to questions. You answered my questions. You did 100%. I just think for me, and again, it's about different people learn differently. And I'm one of those, if you show it to me 2 or 3 times, I'm pretty much good to go. However, I think because I was so green, and people may not believe this, even when I said I didn't know how to apply for food stamps, that was the truth. So when you were saying to me, Keona, you need to go apply for these services, these benefits, I'm looking at you like, Jasmine, where to start? And you could say, Keona, go down to the health department. Go to the DHS, do this, do that. I'm still like frozen, because again, you don't even know what to ask for. But as I went along and I began to put myself out there more, I still to this day call and say, Jasmine, did I just do the right thing, or are you about to slap me on the hand? Because maybe you didn't teach me this, but again, the experience that I had, like I say, you worked with me, you had some one-on-one time with me. You even called me outside, and I even was allowed to call you sometimes outside of the Zoom sessions. You've never turned me down as far as a phone call, and I'm thankful for that. Because again, even to this day, even being a year in, I still have questions because, like you
Yes, a
said,
lot of
there is
information.
so many programs out here, and you just want to know, have you ever heard of this program? Does this even sound right?
Yes,
You
yes,
know,
yes.
and again, one of the challenges you get, and I'll say this to everybody, especially when you're dealing with different municipalities, they'll first of all tell you can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to have the right words, and you've got to know, you at least got to know that Fair Housing Act enough to know
Yes, yes,
what to
yes. The
say to,
federal
yeah, to
housing.
keep these
Yes.
people at bay, because again, they just say, oh, I don't want this boarding house, or I don't want this shelter. It's not a shelter. It's not that at all.
Yeah.
You know, you're just choosing to house people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I had to call you to say, because that was one of the things that, you know, people try to scare you up with. You know, you can't do this, you can't
Yeah,
do
all the
that.
time people tell you that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I had to call you and say, Jasmine, okay, help me to know the right words to say. Show me in the Fair Housing Act, and you know, and you said, Keona, these are the 6 group of people that are protected. I went out there and read it myself,
Mm-hmm.
so I could better understand it. So my point is, you were there when I didn't even know what to do or what to say. It allowed me to reach out to you and say, how do I handle this going forward? And the best thing you can do when you got a mentor, get that notebook and that
Yes.
pen out, because
Yes.
it's a lot of information. And still to this day, sometimes I'll go back over some of my information because maybe what you explained to me 6 months ago didn't make sense.
Yes.
It do now.
Yes.
So I had to go back in my oh, that's what she meant by, you know, the chore program, or, you know, the waiver program. I didn't know.
Yes.
And still to this day, just so everybody knows, she still have to slap my hands. But again, I be so entrenched and so consumed with my people, trying to get them what they need. And sometimes I just got to stop and do some things that's good for the business. You know, yeah, you're helping the
Absolutely.
people, but you got to stop and do the business. But as far as my experience with you, like I say, you supported me through that whole 6 months and beyond.
Man, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, just to even piggyback on that, with you, like you said, coming in so green with so many multiple properties, I feel like you've been doing a phenomenal job. You just, man, amazing, amazing work. Where if people wanted to contact you just to get a little bit more information, if they're in the green light, how was people able to even to feature some of your properties, or if they were able to come out and so many different things? So I love it. Let the people know where they can meet you at.
So the best way to get a hold of me right now, and I'm gonna stop and start to put myself more out there on social media and all that good stuff. But the name of my business is Moravian Housing for Seniors.
Absolutely.
They will.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. Well said. Well, man, guys, I'm so excited to again have Miss Keona on the show with us. I feel like she did a wonderful job just going over her services, where she started from. And man, I'm looking to see the next upcoming property she do have. We're always connected, so she always reach out, like she said. And then also, too, I have extended just multiple services, right? So if you yourself are interested in one-on-one coaching, marketing, credentials, we have so many services, and I will be popping those things down here and attaching it. Please do reach on out and let's get it started. Let's get going, right? So if you haven't already subscribed, please do hit the bell. And man, you don't even know when I'm going to hop in with a video. When it's going to come, we don't even know, right? Yes,